Good morning. Welcome to the Thursday, July 10th open session for Carroll County Commissioners. And as we always like to do, we'll start with a Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Commissioner Guerin, I think it's your turn.
I think so. Thank you, Commissioner Kyler. Good morning, Carroll County. Just super brief. Again, we are in the midst of our volunteer fire company carnival season. So this week we've got Winfield. The weather is kind of cooperating, so keep that in mind, folks. I hope you can make it out there. I'll be out there this weekend with a couple groups, so please stop by and say hello and support your local volunteer fire company.
And they had to cancel last night with all those storms.
It was pretty bad, yeah, and it was very spotty, so it's always tough. And as been mentioned up here by every single commissioner, the importance of those volunteer fire company carnivals, and they really take a hit when they have to cancel. It's a significant amount of money that they lose out on. So let's try to get out there for all of those for the rest of the summer. And lastly, we had some flooding down in the Woodbine area last night. Seems like the occurrence is a little more often than usual. That's anecdotal, but it just certainly seems that way. My reminder to people is to stay out of those areas that are covered on the road. If there is some flooding going on and you want to see what's going on, my other request would be that you just stick to social media. Everybody wants to get a picture of a lot of that water, but it might be just best to stay home and check it out on Facebook or something to that effect. So everybody be safe out there. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Good morning, Carroll County. Just have one thing real briefly. This evening at 6 o'clock, the Historical Society of Carroll County will be hosting an event called History Shaken and Stirred, the Untold Stories of Summer Leisure in Carroll County. That's tonight at 6. That'll be over at Covalent Spirits in Westminster. A number of speakers for this series this evening include Bill Hudson, Sam Greenholtz, and Galen Rupp. They've been doing a number of these events. I think this is either number 4 or number 5 that the Historical Society's held. And of course, each one has been on a different topic, be it one was on the history of McDaniel College. This one obviously is about summer leisure. Just a good, good social time to turn out, and there's no cost for admission if you have interest. So that's all from me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Commissioner. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, just 2 quick things from me today, too, as well. So first of all, I had the opportunity to attend and speak at a public hearing the other evening regarding solar development of a particular property in District 1, a public hearing conducted by the Public Service Commission and capably co-hosted by Commissioner Kyler. Everybody who spoke the other evening were opposed to the solar project, and it's always important to hear why and to learn something new in the process. Commissioner Kyler and I also both spoke and entered comments into the record in defense of the community in the agricultural zone. And just as we stand with our community against the Piedmont power lines, we also stand with our community against the contravention of local zoning by the state. All of my colleagues up here have participated in these hearings over time, and I want to say thank you to all of the citizens who do turn out for them as well. Second, along with a number of my colleagues up here, I had the privilege of attending the groundbreaking for the ARC of Carroll County's expansion by way of a new group home. For those of you who may not know, the ARC is a wonderful organization with incredible people who dedicate themselves to supporting those who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. The ARC is going to be building 2 group homes on residential parcels that the Board of Commissioners unanimously donated to the ARC for that purpose. I was incredibly humbled to be a very small part of something so momentous. And what really is phenomenal is that this is something that is going to serve the county for decades and decades to come. And so I want to compliment all of my colleagues up here for helping to make this possible. And that's all for me this morning. Thank you.
Okay. I think first, Commissioner Guerin, you brought me back to the 80s with Hill Street Blues by saying, be safe out there. So Commissioner Vigliotti has no clue what I'm talking about, but that's all right. Wishing everyone had a very happy, safe, healthy, 10-fingered 4th of July. And it does go into my next comment. I'm on the Shock Trauma Visitors Board, and one of the questions that was entertained or asked was about 4th of July. And Dr. Scalia, who, I mean, talk about a gem of the state and the country, he shared there was a significant amount of injuries from carelessness in 4th of July, and unfortunately, violence, in the Baltimore area. But it's always a pleasure to be on that board and talk about, opportunities for the communities to continue to do better for our community members, and when in need, knowing that shock trauma is there, and their success rate's just amazing. The only other thing is I have been a proud Lion in the Lions Club, Freedom Lions Club, for I don't know how many years, a bunch of years. And last night, congratulations to the new officers of the Freedom Lions Club. The Lions Club is the largest service organization in the world, and always proud to participate in our local Lions Club, because it's not about the world issues, but it's about the local issues. And we provide so much just in our community, and it's always, I've said, unfortunate that there's needs in our community, but we're very fortunate and blessed to have programs and community members in the Lions Club to provide. So that is all I got today. Commissioner Kyler.
Thank you. July 4th, we recently celebrated, and a lot of parties, a lot of fireworks, a lot of family. And I have two sisters. I have two brothers, two sisters. The two sisters were born July 4th and July 5th. So we had some family gatherings because of that. This week I got to celebrate Stu Meekins. Some of you may know Meekins Construction. They did a lot of work for the county over the years. He turned 80, and we had a party for that. That was nice. And Commissioner Vigliotti mentioned a solar hearing. That was well attended, and a good thing. You weren't the longest one to speak. There were some multi-pages. There was a lot of speaking.
I was concerned about, because we typically figure 3 minutes for public comment, and I figure, okay, how can I fit all this together? And then, and our attorney, Tim Burke, was with us as well, and
Yep.
he's joking around with me afterwards. He says, oh, look, you didn't have to worry about 3 minutes anyway, so.
Are you saying that Commissioner Vigliotti is long-winded? I'm just asking.
Well,
Okay.
when he brings papers written,
Yeah.
I worry sometimes, but
Well-
they outdid him.
They did.
They outdid him. We had cabinet this week, and that was great. We got a great staff here and a good bunch of people. The ARC groundbreaking, that was a great event. A lot of people there. Oh, and well, I'll back up. Rhonda and I went to see Mary Poppins at Pantherplex, and great play. Love the local plays and the school plays and the ones they do there. And it's interesting. I'll mention the Farver family. Bert is one of their children. He was one of the lead characters in this musical, and that was awesome. The day before that, their older son got sworn in at the Merchant Marines Academy. So they had a big weekend, and probably drove up to Long Island. I would assume they got home at midnight and then came and watched the play next day. So it's so many great families in Carroll County, and I told them at the ARC groundbreaking. I just love Carroll County. I love how people work together. There were so many people at that event from all around the county. And, yeah, there's a photo, and they're one of the jewels of Carroll County, Pantherplex and some of the plays that go on there. You know, we've got a lot of things going on in Carroll County that we take for granted, and I think other counties envy us. He opened and closed probably with the event, and it was awesome. Yeah, that's,
Your eyes are open.
I'm sitting there I'm focused.
You are focused.
I'm focused on what's going on. Yeah, thank you for that photo. Yeah, it was Commissioner Delegate Tomlinson was there. A secretary was there. She's been at events at the Ag Center. She's been very active in Carroll County, like a lot of the secretaries are, and that's awesome. And then we got to shovel dirt, and Commissioner Gordon had some conflicts, so Commissioner Vigliotti stood in with your shovel. So I hope that was okay.
Absolutely.
I got the dirt.
So yeah, great event and great people, and like so many other, we all got a challenge going. That was neat. Like so many events and organizations in Carroll County, they have so many supporters, and it's a lot of the same names you see that give to a lot of the things. At lunchtime, we're meeting MDE secretary. She's touring right now around Carroll County, and then we'll meet and talk for lunch. And again, Governor Moore has very much demanded that his secretaries get around the state, and they do. We had a MACO meeting yesterday. We have one again next week. And again, that's a great group that's hopefully helping us maintain local control. When you see these power lines and the solar, so many things the state wants to take local control from us, and we need to fight and fight for the citizens of Carroll County. So I think that's enough from me, and thank you guys for all your comments, and the carnivals and the volunteer fire companies. We can't say much about that. Between the heat and the storms, they've been hit pretty hard this year, and it's a good time out, and I know and the kids love it. So thank you. First item, after priority, Carol, comment letter for City of Westminster annexation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Joining us is going to be Ms. Andrea Gerhardt from the City of Westminster.
Good morning.
Morning.
Nice to see you again.
Yes, you too. Just let me jump right in.
She's the groundbreaking yesterday.
Okay, well, good morning again, Commissioner. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. Today, we are presenting an annexation request from the City of Westminster. Annexation 87, 1012 Baltimore Boulevard. We received this request on May 13th, 2025. This is a property that's 1.2 acres, and it's owned by 1012 BWMD LLC. I am providing a street view, so you have an idea of the property that we're talking about. This is an old RE/MAX building that's going to be repurposed for an adult daycare facility. It is right next to the 140 area. In this case, the property, it is within the growth limits or the growth area of the City of Westminster, and it's also within the corporate limits. Right now, as I mentioned, it's 1.2 acres. And this adult daycare facility, the petition was received because they need an additional sewer allocation to operate. Currently, it is zoned in the county's C2 category of commercial medium intensity. The city of Westminster has confirmed their intent to place the property in the B or business zone category. The property does not require a zoning waiver. The designated land use falls under commercial under the city of Westminster 2009 Community Comprehensive Plan. When it comes to water and sewer, the property at 1012 Baltimore Boulevard will be connected to the City of Westminster public sewage system. Water services are under the category W1 or existing, and sewage services under S1. The property has an on-site well, which the Carroll County Health Department has allowed to be used for the proposed adult daycare facility as it meets the demands for such facility. I just want to clarify the definition of daycare facility for the City of Westminster. It's considered a place used for the reception or care or for compensation of a child under 18 years of age or elderly persons over the age of 60 years of age for any part of a 24-hour period, which is similar to our definition of an adult daycare facility. And in this case, the property will be connected to the sewer services. And as you can see on the map, it already has the lines to be connected to such services. From our part, the Department of Planning and Land Management, we're recommending the city give public notice by posting the property prior to the date of the public hearing and notifying all adjoining property owners. In this case, Planning and Zoning Commission findings and recommendation. Planning staff finds the proposed zoning of the annexation area is consistent with the land use and density envisioned for the area of the City of Westminster 2009 Comprehensive Plan and is compatible with the surrounding areas and properties. Staff also finds that the proposed annexation will not overburden public facilities or municipal services. The Planning and Zoning Commission concurs with staff findings and conveys their support for the annexation to the Board of County Commissioners. The Planning and Zoning Commission, we discussed this yesterday, and they conveyed their support. Any questions on your behalf? Today is pretty much a briefing, a discussion, and a decision for a comment letter just providing your support. The public hearings will be July 17th, City of Westminster Planning Commission, July 28th, Mayor and Common Council. Any questions you might have?
I move the board approve, sign, and forward the comment letter to the City of Westminster regarding annexation number 87-1012 Baltimore Boulevard.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day.
You too.
Now, briefing discussion on the 2024 Planning Annual Report.
Good morning.
Good morning to you both.
Tiffany Fawcett, we are here today to talk to you, as we usually are in July, about the previous year's Planning Annual Report, which is prepared for submission to the state. I will let Tiffany run through the process as well as the contents of the report.
Good morning.
Morning.
As Mary said, I'm here to talk about development and growth in the county in 2024. The purpose of the annual report is that it is a required element, required by the state to report planning and development activity for the calendar year. This information that is in the report includes both county and information from all 8 municipalities. It is a multi-agent effort as well, and several people have put a lot of work into this. It is also based on the land use article from the state. It includes changes to comprehensive plans, plan amendments, water sewer amendments, subdivision site plans approved, zoning map amendments, zoning text amendments, new or improved schools, roads, parks, recorded lots, building permits, use and occupancy certificates, development capacity analysis, and agricultural land preservation. So digging into the report itself, beginning on page 2, there is a quick at-a-glance for development in the county for 2024. You can just see here in the presentation. Again, this presentation is a summary of what's in the report, so there are some graphics that are included in the presentation that are not in the report itself. Then we move on to pages 3 through 12, which include maps 1 through 8 for new plans and plan amendments. There were no new plans in 2024. However, there were several amendments to the Carroll County Water and Sewer Master Plan that became effective in 2024. And you can see those maps on pages 5 through page 12, and includes countywide maps on page 11 and 12. Next, we move on to pages 13, that should say through 16, tables 1 through 4, and including map 9 for site plans and subdivisions that were approved in 2024. There were a total of 19 new residential lots approved, 20 units, and that's for a total of 49.5 acres that were approved for residential development. And then for non-residential development, there was a total of about 160 acres that were approved for development last year. And you can see in the graphics there that are included in the summary of in the presentation, a breakdown of what that looks like, county versus municipality. Included here in the presentation is a trend for the number of lots that were approved for residential development over the last 10 years. This does not include the municipalities. And then here you can see the trend for the number of acres that were approved for non-residential development over the last 10 years. Again, this does not include municipalities. Back to the report, we're moving to pages 17 through 18, includes tables 5 and 6, and map 10, where it shows the zoning map amendments. That includes 4 annexations and 1 rezoning in the county. And then as we move on to pages 19 through 22, we see zoning text amendments, amendments to priority funding area boundaries, new schools, transportation, adequate public facilities ordinances, and park facilities. For this county, there were 7 revisions made to ordinances affecting future development, including changes made to bring the zoning code into compliance with newly enacted state laws. Hampstead also had 8 zoning revisions, text amendments. Sykesville had 1, Tawnytown had 1, and Westminster had 1. Those are on pages 19 through 20. On 21, you can see that there was 1 amendment to priority funding areas in Mount Airy. That was for the annexation of Pank Land LLC. There were no new schools or additions last year. Roads that were improved included changes to roadway network that included 4 new county roads and 1 new road in New Windsor, and that can be seen in Table 7 on page 21. There were no developments that were modified due to the adequate public facilities ordinance restrictions, and there were several new park improvements, including 44 acres that were purchased with using program open space funding next to Cape Horn Park. There was a memorial garden that was completed in Westminster Veterans Memorial Park, a challenge course playground at Freedom Park, and a new Gaga ball pit at Leicester Park, and a disc golf course at Crim Gold Park. Next, we're going to move on to to pages 30 through 31 under measures and indicators, which is a little deeper in there. And then that includes table 16 and map 12 that show total number of permits issued for new construction last year was 208. And you can see that in map 12, but here in the presentation, you can see the breakdown of what that looks like for residential, non-residential, inside and outside the growth areas for building permits issued last year. Again, that's for new construction. For new construction for use and occupancy certificates issued last year, there was a total of 275. Those are in table 17 and 18 and shown on map 13 in pages 32 through 34. Here in the presentation, you can see that broken down into residential and non-residential UNOs issued for new construction last year by growth area, inside and outside the growth area. Included in the presentation, not in the report here, you can see the trend, the 10-year trend for new dwellings of the UNO certificates issued from 2015 to 2024, for new dwelling UNO certificates issued. And then here, again, in the presentation, not in the report, you can see the 10-year trend for new non-residential use and occupancy certificates issued. Moving on to the buildable land inventory or development, actually, I don't call it the other one, so I'm not familiar with when we do say it. So, development capacity analysis. On pages 36 through 41, tables 22 through 24, actually, and included in maps 14 is residential and 15 is non-residential. You can see what is existing as far as development and what is potential development based on zoning in the county. This includes the municipalities. This slide is not included in the report and is just a summary of what is in the report, showing at the top the residential existing lots and potential lots in the county inside and outside the growth areas. For instance, this does show that for outside the growth areas, 26% of the possible potential lots are yet to be developed, and inside the growth areas, there's 18% of the residential lots that have potential to still be developed. And then on the lower part of the slide, you see that there, for the non-residential acreage, that 65% of the acreage zoned for non-residential outside the growth areas, there's 65 that is currently developed, and inside the growth areas, 59% of that is currently developed.
And if you're wondering about the significance and why we present that, that's required by the state in this report.
Thank you. Next, moving on to pages 42 through 43, it's the agricultural land preservation of 2024. There was 965 acres, including 16 farms, preserved last year. And $5,113,539 was committed to agriculture preservation based off the calendar year of 2024. 52.5% of that was county funds. And then as of June of 2024, over 80,000 acres of land had been preserved for agricultural use. And this is the 5-year trend of AgPres over the last 5 years. Sorry. And then also showing over the trends over the last 5 years, or not trends, but this is actual land that's been approved for development or has been put into AgPres. Comparison on the right of each column, the columns to the right that are stacked is approved residential development and approved non-residential development. And then the darker blue is for the AgPres, acres that have been put into AgPres each year over the last 5 years. So all 8 municipalities have already certified their information, and County Planning Commission has already certified the information as well for the county. We did email final report to the Maryland Department of Planning and all municipalities on June 20th. It's posted on the website, and we have already forwarded copies to the municipalities. So there's no action to be taken today, but do you have any questions?
I guess my question is a so what question. You know, what is this telling us? What do you want me to walk away with all this information? That we are developing less, you know, over the last year. There's some significant, changes in the trends. What's your overall thoughts about a few of those significant changes? Either one.
I would not.
It's a very open-ended question, I know.
Very open-ended.
But the fact is, you're giving us a lot of information, a lot of data, and at the end of it, it's like, so what? You know, what, from my perspective, what do you believe we should be doing from the dais, the five of us, to either influence something or to move something in the right direction? I mean, what?
Well,
you know,
right
so-
now, I can say that with our work groups, they have asked for information that we have gone back to the report specifically to show them what has happened, what is happening. So it's been a very useful tool in that sense, and since
Okay.
it is a requirement, it's a requirement by the state that we just report the information.
Right.
So that's really what it is just a report that we can reference for if you do have a question. And then in the direction, though, I don't think that I could say that at this time.
And also with the trends, if you look at it, it's really a 2-year trend
Mm-hmm.
that things have dipped. So we try not to make too much out of that. And
Right.
it does show the whole process. It shows concept plans, shows subdivisions, building permits, UNOs. So you really have to look at it over a period of time, as well as if the building permits and UNOs are down, but the subdivisions and site plans haven't really dipped, then you could expect to see that. So that would take more of an analysis. This is basically a presentation of
Right.
all the data that's required by the state. So I wouldn't take away too much as far as drawing conclusions over short year trends like that. And with the master plan, as Tiffany said, this is being used as a tool to look at where we've been over the last 10 years to determine where to go.
And it's been valuable for the process with the master plan, with the subcommittees? Okay, good. I mean, there's a lot of information, you know, and it takes a lot of time to package this information, I would expect. And if it's just because the state is requiring something, you know, then we owe it to you and the community to either go back to the state and say, okay, you've been requesting this, what are you doing with it? Except ensuring that we're doing it. And that's not the right answer, but sometimes that's kind of what happens, is it becomes a routine requirement over years. And if it's, like I said, a lot of work, and if it's just being shelved somewhere, then I'd like to know
It's
why.
not. I think even if the state didn't require it, we would
Yeah,
do most of it.
Yeah.
To keep track of things and to work on the plans.
in your spare time.
In my spare time.
You're pretty amazing, all you guys.
I think the data is helpful for long-term planning
Yeah.
for the board going forward. So when the board wants to look at whether or not they
Right.
want to make a change, a policy difference in some way,
Right.
then they have this data accumulated already to
Yeah.
make those informed decisions going forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just a lot of work put into this, so, okay.
And I think it's strange a little bit. Slide 12 shows residential is down for 2 years. It was going up a little bit, nothing like it was in the old days. Non-residential seems to be slightly increasing, but then, to me, 17, I don't know if that tells as much as we want. It's acreage, but our ag pres is way more than any growth. But I'm not sure if that's acres, correct? Yeah, that's acres, so I'm not sure, you know, a farm's bigger than most projects. So I'm not sure what that means, but I think, you know, we have a housing crisis in Carroll County, and I think this supports that growth has not picked up that much. We still get some emails from people about the rampant growth in Carroll County, which just doesn't exist. I don't think.
And that's kind of what this tells us, is it does not exist.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So is this also this is in countywide regardless of municipality or non-municipality, this slide, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
slide is. Yeah, some of the slides did break it out.
It
but
did,
this-
but this one is
Correct. This is
countywide.
approved site plans and subdivisions countywide, including
Yeah.
municipalities.
It's also interesting. not
This
just
does
the-
tell a good, not a good story, this tells, I apologize,
Sorry.
the story exactly what Commissioner Kyler was saying is, we feel like there's this growth happening, and there may be growth in certain spots, on certain roads in certain communities, but within the county, there's not, so.
If I may, I think it's also very interesting in that non-residential development, not in every year, 23 looks fairly even. I mean, this is a pretty gross scale, so it's hard to say. But, 24, 21, maybe 22 and 20, looks like non-residential development outpaced residential.
Right.
Which is interesting and good for tax-based
For
purposes
taxes,
for
yeah.
the county. Something that we have struggled with because of various infrastructure limitations, like not having a major highway, much of a major highway that goes through Carroll County, things like that.
I agree, and actually, further analysis, not, because you can break this down so many ways, but the residential that is over 55, or the senior, because there's such a focus on that, especially in the southeast part of the county, with a lot of over 55 communities growing and being developed, built, and sold. I mean, it's pretty incredible for very high end too. We're talking $600,000 to $800,000 homes, and that sliver on the bottom of approved residential development, how much of it is single-family homes or homes for under 55 and then 55 plus? That would be an interesting breakout because,
We can get you that.
what's
We
that?
can get you that if you
Yeah,
want to.
I think it'd be interesting because, we're all concerned about the single-family homes and its impact on our fire EMS infrastructure, schools, and et cetera. So have we really swung the pendulum on over 55 across the county? It's like 75% of it's over 55, and that's just a made-up number, but I'd be curious,
We can do that.
yeah.
And to me, I wonder, I think we're pushing it too hard personally, but with the demographics of our population right now, there's a market for that. Will there be in 20 years, or will half of them be set and empty? And to me, that's a valid concern.
And that's where the subcommittee,
Yep.
for the master plan, hopefully will bring some opinions and visibility into that, because you're right. We're looking at a snapshot for today, not a projection for 20 years from now,
Yes.
so, yeah.
And everything's done with this, so we're not approving or disapproving. We've seen it, and unless we ask, we won't see it again.
Tiffany will be back next year?
Or somebody in my place.
Don't say that.
No, not that I've gone anywhere. There's just plans to move this along.
Yes, yes. Any other questions, guys?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So now we get to talk to Tech Services about a contract renewal for Cohesity Fort Knox. Am I close?
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Morning, gentlemen.
I'm helping you because you'll probably make the motion. So,
I appreciate it, looking out.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Technology Services, requests your approval to renew the contract for Cohesity Fort Knox with E-Plus Technology Incorporated in the amount of $38,355.72. E-Plus Technology was previously awarded a term contract that was competitively bid. The amount is approved in the FY26 budget.
So Fort Knox is so Cohesity is our larger backup solution that we use throughout the county. Fort Knox is a portion of it that puts an isolated snapshot of our backups in the cloud in a secure storage location. That makes, so it helps protect us against any ransomware or cybersecurity threats by keeping that information isolated.
Motion to renew the contract for Cohesity Fort Knox to ePlus Technology Incorporated in the amount of $38,355.72.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, Genetec Advantage Support.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Technology Services, requests your approval to renew the contract for Genetec Advantage Support with Marathon Technology Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $38,316.90. The cost is based on the number of devices connected to our Genetec system. The amount is approved in the FY26 adopted budget.
So Genetec Security Center is our security software solution that manages our cameras and door controls throughout the county, all county facilities. So this is the renewal of our support contract with them that provides software updates, technical support, engineering consultation, and as mentioned, is based on the number of devices we have connected to it.
Does this include the courtrooms?
It does, yes.
Okay.
Motion to renew the contract for Genetec Advantage Support with Marathon Technology Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $38,316.90.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you.
Now, we're going to talk about a contract award for a mill and pave and restripe.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning. Morning.
Morning.
Morning.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Facilities, requests your approval to award a contract for milling, paving, and restriping of the county parking lot on Ralph Street near the Ascension Church to Gems Contracting Incorporated in the amount of $58,909. This purchase will be made via term contract 12089 that was awarded to Gems Contracting Incorporated. This amount is approved in the fiscal year 26 budget.
Commissioners, this upper parking lot is used for complex overflow parking located on the corners of North Ralph Street and Winter Street. It's in dire need of full blacktop replacement. It's currently 30 years old and it's gone multiple repairs. Roughly about 100 parking spots. The courthouse uses it for, like I say, overflow during large jury trials, and vice versa. If there's something going on around the complex here, it's also used for overflow parking.
Tom, did you want to take this one? 'Cause
Sure.
Wes
I
was-
move the Board of Commissioners approve the contract award for milling, paving, and restriping to Gems Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $58,909.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, spending authority for the sheriff on Prime Care Medical, Inc.
Morning to you both.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning, Commissioners.
The Office of Procurement, cooperation with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, is requesting your approval to spend up to but not to exceed $1,490,000 for catastrophic billing and medical-related expenses to Prime Care Medical, Inc. This purchase will be made utilizing the Cecil County's RFP that was competitively bid. The funds are approved in the FY26 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. So before you this morning to get all of our FY26 fiscal year POs approved for our expenses. So this is one of the first ones we have before you this morning.
Motion to approve the cost for catastrophic billing and related medical expenses for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office of Prime Care Medical Incorporated in the amount of $1,490,000.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And now we're going to talk a little bit more about Prime Care Medical and a spending authority.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, is requesting your approval to spend up to but not to exceed $876,000 for medical-assisted treatment-related expenses to Prime Care Medical, Inc. This purchase will be made utilizing Cecil County's RFP that was competitively bid. The funds are approved in the FY26 budget.
Commissioners, this is for, as it says, the MAT-related expenses for the program for the year. So looking for your approval on the spending authority for this.
Motion to approve the cost of medical-assisted treatment-related expenses for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office to Prime Care Medical Incorporated in the amount of $876,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now, we'll talk about janitorial services.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, requests spending authority approval to spend up to but not to exceed $29,640.12 for janitorial services to Summit Building Services. This amount will cover costs for FY26. The funds are approved in the FY26 budget.
So Commissioners, this is for our expenses in various buildings for the year for their services.
Motion to approve the spending authority for janitorial services for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $29,640.12.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, we'll talk about food services for the sheriff.
The Office of...
That's a lot. $720,000.
A lot of people eat a lot.
Maybe not
Office
the
of
sheriff personally.
No.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, requests spending authority to spend up to but not to exceed $720,000 for food service operations to Summit Food Service. The amount will cover costs for FY26. Payments will be made utilizing Calvert County's contract that was competitively bid. The funds are approved in the FY26 budget.
So again, Commissioners, just looking at our expenses for food service for the year as best we can estimate, looking for your approval.
And you're not saying that the sheriff eats too much, are you?
No.
Okay. I just want to make that very clear. Okay.
Motion to approve the spending authority for food service operations for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $720,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion or questions? Do you have anything else, Commissioner Austin?
No, I'm very proud to approve this one, so, no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And last but not least, medication-assisted treatment for the sheriff's office. Is that better?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, requests your approval to spend up to but not to exceed $120,000 to Genesis Treatment Services for medication-assisted treatment-related expenses for FY26. Genesis Treatment Centers is an approved term contractor. This amount is approved in the FY26 budget. This purchase will be made with 100% covered by the opioid restitution settlement grant.
So as we discussed in prior visits to all of you, the MAT-related expenses are covered by that funding. So looking for your approval for these expenses.
Is this an annual,
Yes.
service or expense
Oh,
from
no,
Genesis?
this is daily.
Well, I mean, we're funding this through the,
Opioid restitution.
through the grant, and that's an annual event?
So those funds are what I believe the county has already received.
Okay.
So that's managed, so I coordinate all that with Ms. Debbie Staniford for all of that. So it's not out of our operating, it's funded out of that.
The opioid restitution.
Opioid restitution.
Yeah.
So we are part of the suit, as we're many jurisdictions.
Right.
And this is funded from those,
Okay.
those awards,
Yeah.
those legal
Yeah.
awards.
Okay.
Motion to approve the spending authority to Genesis Treatment Services for medication-assisted treatment-related expenses for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $120,000, which will be paid through the opioid restitution settlement grant.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Sheriff's Office. Now we're going to go to annual maintenance support and life cycle management for Department of Public Safety.
Morning to you both.
Good morning.
The Office of Procurement, Cooperation with the Department of Public Safety requests your approval to continue the multi-year agreement with Motorola Solutions Incorporated for the annual maintenance, support, and lifecycle management for the Public Safety Asher 25 radio system per maintenance agreement 7842 and agreement 3900 in the amount of $1,641,430.60. This amount is approved in the FY26 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ashley Bergen, our Emergency Communications Manager, is here with me today. This annual maintenance, support, and lifecycle management contract takes care of all of the multiple components of the emergency communications system. It was originally executed in July 2022, and it includes 24/7, 365 support of the entire system, the microwave network, the VHF paging system. It also includes periodic updates of the operating software to ensure that we're all up to date and that we're current. We also have some system monitoring, some cybersecurity monitoring measures and security measures that are incorporated in this contract. It also incorporates the same features for Westminster Police Department. The contract is funded by the county and then Westminster Police Department reimburses the county for their share of the cost, which is $31,479.81 this year. So the county's share is $1.6 million, $1,609,950.79.
Motion to approve the annual maintenance, support, and lifecycle management services for the Astra 25 radio system to Motorola Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $1,641,430.60, and authorize the Director of Public Safety to approve the resulting monthly payments.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And now we'll talk about executing a change order.
Yes, Commissioners. This change order request is related to the contract that we just talked about. In 2022, that multi-year contract was awarded. The entire amount was $9,413,596.95. Two change orders that are related to post-warranty support costs for equipment that has been added to our public safety radio system after the initial contract was put in place, have been issued. The first one was $143,210.43 that was signed last year. That was for, excuse me, post-warranty costs and associated things associated with the 2 additional dispatch positions that were installed that year. This year, these costs are associated with the microwave upgrade that we did last year that was completed towards the end of the year, probably in November. So we had a portion of a year that was covered under that warranty, that project's warranty. We got a year's worth of coverage. This cost is to pick up where that warranty coverage ends and take it forward for fiscal year 26. So the request is to authorize me to execute that change order because this $16,000 change order puts me above the $150,000 limit that was established in 2022 with Resolution 116, 2022.
Motion to authorize the Director of Public Safety to execute the change order with Motorola Solutions.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Ashley, you're the strong silent type? Okay.
I'm just here for support.
Just in case you have any technical questions.
Thank you, guys. Do we have any callers for public comment?
I have no one on the line, sir.
Okay. Do we have public comment here? You're getting a card.
for Mr. Manning. If you'll go to the microphone in the middle and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. If you could please just start the 3 minutes after I say my name, Andrew Manning.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry. Hi, I'm Andrew Manning. Sorry, I'm gonna have to do half written today, half unwritten, so wish me luck. I'm Andrew Manning, here today on behalf of myself, Don Quiones, founder and president of the for-nonprofit Donkey Lives Matter. Our slogan at DLM is, I am capable, I am organic, I am valid, I am visible. As I am a pillar in the donkey community, I feel within my purview to advise any non-donkey identifying genders to avoid the N-word, as it represents a painful part of our past and our struggle to get to where we are today. In other words, don't be outphobic. Here's my spot. Don't be outphobic. Now, as my public request to remove the police escort to attend these public meetings has been denied, I would like to make a few observations I've made during the last 2 sessions. One thing I'd like to note before I begin is that Jim DeWise is the elected sheriff for Carroll County, so I do believe it is under his authority that this is being continued. My first observation is that during the last session, Mr. DeWise was making a public comment in regards to a specific matter being discussed, and it was limited to 3 minutes, as all public comments are expected to be. I didn't have a chance to go back and time the overage, but a safe minute went by after the first 3. Removing the subject matter from the equation, it is noteworthy that not any of the commissioners spoke up and all permitted him to continue. I am making a direct observation. I'm not making any direct assertions. I am simply pointing out a fact. Secondly, there is a simple solution to this that is A, honorable, B, respectful, and C, professional, and that would be, I don't have to spitball the rest, to simply have a police officer attend all public meetings on Thursdays. That way, nobody that you may feel is a threat or an undesirable were to come attend the meeting. You already have a police officer present. You can feel safe as you are. I had a lot more to say. Obviously, I like to do my homework in class instead of before. So I will just go ahead and save all my other stuff for the next time. I will just say that, what will I just say? Oh, yes. You could make the observation that you guys feel you're more important than the general public. Obviously, I go to grocery stores. I go to the gym. I go to work. I'm around people all day. Should those people feel threatened by me? Should they call up Jim and say, hey, this guy, Andrew Manning, can you give him a police escort? We don't feel safe here at the grocery store, so we don't feel safe here at the gym. Hey, let's watch him while he works. So that's all I got to say. It is what it is. Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you. And while this typically isn't question and answer, I would like to comment. My policy on the 3 minutes is, depending on the number we have, at 3 minutes, I'll say, please finish your thoughts, and then give reasonable time. And we've had a couple meetings where a few people have spoken more than the 3 minutes. I don't think you have. And as far as, in my opinion, police presence here is determined by the sheriff and the city of Westminster. And I've got to think they make good decisions based on what they feel. I'll be honest, I've never felt threatened in this room by anybody that's come. So I don't feel like we need a police presence here every meeting. But that's a decision that the police and the sheriff can make, is my opinion. Anybody, anything different, you feel strongly? Thank you. Admin open, any subjects, anything we want to bring up, admin open?
No, sir, not for me.
Okay, agenda updates. And as we know, Wanda's off this week. I think Vivian's out there kind of by herself covering for us, so she will listen to this. So I'd like to go through the agenda. If we have a change, she'll hear it and make the adjustments as needed. Monday, July 14th, Transit Advisory, Commissioner Kyler. Tuesday, July 15th, the Commissioner Rothstein's Chamber Breakfast, Commissioners Kyler and Rothstein. And I think I asked this last week. Do you pay for me to go to listen to you, or I pay?
I give.
You go? Okay. Planning and Zoning, Commissioner Gordon, 9 a.m., and he'll probably be there a while.
Yes.
2 p.m., Veterans Advisory Meeting, Commissioners Gordon and Kyler. And I don't remember, did they decide to skip any meetings in the summer?
I believe we may have. I'll have to go back and check.
Yeah, I think we need to check and make sure this is a scheduled meeting. I think they decided to skip some. Wednesday, July 16th, Federal Reserve and Carroll County Community Conversation, Commissioners Kyler and Rothstein.
And I will be attending that as well.
I think Commissioner Vigliotti said he was going to attend.
You going to attend that?
How long is that? Do you know how long it's going to last? They have the Farm Museum that morning at 9:30.
Well, I think it's supposed to be around 2 hours, but you could leave. I mean, it's totally up to you.
All right, can you put me down for tentative? Is that all right?
Yeah, I think, you know, you don't have to stay till it's over if you have a conflict, but if you have time.
All right. Yeah, all right, put me down.
9:30 a.m. Farm Museum, Commissioner Vigliotti. 10 a.m. Community Solar Hearing, evidentiary. And there's virtual, those you can listen to. And they are having some changes with their schedule, and I'm not sure. We just need to keep track of it. ESAC that evening with Commissioner Guerin. On Thursday, the Employee Service Recognition Breakfast at 8 a.m. With all 5 commissioners. 10 a.m. open session. Priority of Carroll Boys and Girls Club. Jared will be here, who's done great this year, and they've done great for a few years. Request for the radiological ingestion plan, and that's the next item, and then reduction of review fees for Dublin Manor, and then hot mix asphalt paving, public comment, admin open, agenda review. Then will be followed by the closed admin that normally happens before, but because of the breakfast, we've changed the schedule.
Yeah, and it'll happen immediately after the time is, that it will happen immediately after the time is.
Yeah,
is
not a, so you're available when needed.
I will make myself available.
Thank you.
That's a first.
Very generous of me.
Commissioner Rothstein at 9 a.m. on Friday will be at the Baltimore Metropolitan Council Board of Directors. Commissioner Kyler has the podcast, which isn't written yet. I don't want to disappoint you. Monday and Tuesday, July 21st, 22nd, show no activities. On Wednesday, Commission on Aging and Disabilities virtually is Commissioner Vigliotti. On Thursday, closed admin at 8 a.m., open session at 9 a.m. Mrs. Mary Lane will be here for her retirement. Approval of resolution for a spring amendment to the Water and Sewer Master Plan. Resolution declaring county's official intent to reimburse expenditures with debt proceeds. Public comment, admin open, agenda review, Friday and Saturday show no activities, and Commissioner Gordon has the podcast. Any changes or discussion or a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.